Yo, what's going on, YouTube? And welcome back to Goal Line Hockey. It's your boy Kevin Forte. We are taking a look today at the Winnipeg Jets. The Winnipeg Jets seem to be in the conversation for shopping for a defenseman at the 2021 NHL trade deadline. Josh Manson and Rasmus Ristolainen seem to be the top names for the Winnipeg Jets, and we'll be taking a look at that in this video. If you guys like what we're doing here at Goal Line Hockey and want to see the latest news around the NHL, you guys know what to do. Make sure to give this video a big thumbs up, and even bigger, subscribe down below, and let's take a look at the Winnipeg Jets. So, let's get right into it. So, Kevin Webb, the other day, had he was talking about the Winnipeg Jets and how there has been, in the past, conversations about Josh Manson and Rasmus Ristolainen going to the Winnipeg Jets, and it seems like we could see that resurface at this year's deadline. Now, the thing is with these two players, looking at the Winnipeg Jets in the standings, they're tied with both the Edmonton Oilers and the Toronto Maple Leafs for the top spot in the North Division. It's very tight at the top, and then things get a lot slimmer, or a lot weaker, quite honestly, from Montreal and downward. So, the Winnipeg Jets, the reason they'd probably be looking to add a rental, it's not even a rental defenseman in Josh Manson or Rasmus Ristolainen. They both have 1 year left on their contract, which means they have this year, they have a playoff run with these guys this year and next year, which is good for both these teams. So looking at Josh Manson to start things off, they got right shot defenseman. He's 29 years old. He's got 98 points in his almost 400 games in the NHL. He's making $4.1 million for this season and next season. He will be an unrestricted free agent in the summer of 2022. Looking at Rasmus Ristolainen, I think this is the better overall fit for the Winnipeg Jets. You've got Rasmus Ristolainen. He's 26 years old, right shot defenseman. He's got 235 points in 500 games in the NHL, and he's making a little bit more salary-wise. He's making $5.4 million for this season and next. Again, unrestricted free agent next summer. Now, we're going to get into the details of why these guys would be available. Oh, God. That's not good. Why would these guys be available? So, looking at the Anaheim side of things, they're going to need money to save over the next couple years because they're going to have to re-sign Isaac Lundestrom. Eventually, they're going to have to sign Trevor Zegras and Jamie Drysdale. They're going to have to sign some of these young guys. So, then comes a situation where Josh Manson, who is already 29, he's in the prime of his career in a rebuild in Anaheim. It doesn't really make sense. And let's be honest, Anaheim can get some value for him a year out from his rent because he's not considered a rental. He has another year left on his contract, which is perfect for a team like Winnipeg, who would be looking to add a right shot defenseman to their lineup. And they've lost a lot of defensemen over the past couple years. Jacob Trouba, Dustin Byfuglien. They really haven't had anybody to replace those guys. So it's very important that they find somebody to do that, to help out their defense, to help out Connor Hellebuyck in between the pipes. So it makes sense that they would be in on these guys. Now, honestly, I think Rasmus Ristolainen is the perfect fit for the Winnipeg Jets. We've seen the Winnipeg Jets and the Buffalo Sabres make trades in the past. Obviously, the big one with Evander Kane. I wouldn't be surprised if we saw another one here, a blockbuster move. Rasmus Ristolainen will not come in cheap. I think the price tag on a lot of these, we're looking at rentals like Taylor Hall or Kyle Palmieri even, coming in at a first-round pick and a pretty high-end prospect. So if that's the price tag for a guy that's not playing that well in Buffalo like Taylor Hall, what's the price tag for a Rasmus Ristolainen, a right-shot defenseman? There's not many of those around. Right-shot defenseman who puts up points. And he's got another year left on his contract. He's going to come in and at a higher price tag, probably a first, a second, and a high-end prospect. Rasmus Ristolainen is a good top-four defenseman. Now, some teams may be taking a bet on this guy because you look at what Rasmus Ristolainen has done over his NHL career. You look, the Buffalo Sabres, we're seeing a pattern. Guys that don't win. And that's what we're seeing right now with a guy like Ristolainen. He has had no success in the NHL. And this isn't a knock on Rasmus Ristolainen, because let's be honest, it's not entirely his fault. You can say the same thing about Connor McDavid. He hasn't won anything in the NHL. Yeah, but that's because it's the Edmonton Oilers, right? So, Ristolainen, it's not all to his fault, but you have to have that in the correlation because he's been around in Buffalo for a long time. And I think as the Sabres start to look to guys like Jacob Bryson and Rasmus Dahlin, and they start to redevelop that blue line, I think a guy like Rasmus Ristolainen could find his way out. Now, again, I know Sabres fans are going to go in the comments, oh, they can't trade Ristolainen, da da da. Let's look at a year from now, right? So let's say the Sabres continue the downward path, which Sabres fans dread the thought of that. But let's just say they get a top 3 pick this year, and they struggle again next year. Because let's be honest, that top 3 pick this year isn't guaranteed to make them the playoffs the following year, like we've seen with Alexis Lafreniere or Nico Hischier or Jack Hughes over the past couple years. Those teams, the Devils and the Rangers, have not been making the postseason, so it doesn't work like that. So with Buffalo, let's be honest, in free agency, probably going to stay away from Buffalo because of what's gone on. So let's say another bad season for Buffalo again next year. Now, Ristolainen is considered a rental at this point at the deadline, and he doesn't want to re-sign in Buffalo. He has made no intention that he wants to sign with the Buffalo Sabres. He's, at that point, going to be going into his prime at 27, 28 years old. Why would he want to stay in Buffalo? So as much as you Sabres fans out there, oh, we can't trade Ristolainen, he's the rock to our defense. At the end of the day, he's been there for a long time. He's going to be 27, 28 years old. He's been there for almost a decade, and the Buffalo Sabres have not done a thing. And I hate to say it, it's not Ristolainen's fault. It's not any one person's fault. But there comes a time, especially in today's day with the NHL, there's a lot more movement in the NHL in terms of players moving around. And I hate to say it, I think it's time for Ristolainen to go somewhere else. And I think things have just gotten stale in Buffalo. I think to an extent he wanted to leave Buffalo earlier this season. I think those, again, he's come back and stuff, but he just, I don't know how to say it. I don't know how to describe it. I don't know. It's hard to explain. But the thing is, he obviously had some issues with the bug earlier when the Buffalo Sabres had the bug going around the locker room, were out for 2 weeks, and he's done quite well. I mean, let's be honest. He could get them a first, a second, and a high-end prospect at this year's deadline. Or maybe even 2 firsts if there's enough interest. So, Ristolainen, he's not going to be cheap, but I think the Buffalo Sabres would be smart to at least entertain it. And the Winnipeg Jets have the assets. And Winnipeg is feeling like, hey, we're in a win-now mode. We have a Vezina candidate goaltender in Connor Hellebuyck. We have a pretty good group of forwards. Pierre-Luc Dubois just slots right in. He's playing quite well. Paul Stastny, Mark Scheifele. Down the middle, you're toward the end of the career of Blake Wheeler as he gets older. So maybe you have one last run in Blake Wheeler here. And you add Rasmus Ristolainen to the back end to help out guys like Neil Pionk and Josh Morrissey. That would be huge for the Winnipeg Jets. It just seems like a perfect fit. So guys, let me know what you think in the comment section down below. What do you think of the possibility of the Buffalo Sabres trading Rasmus Ristolainen? I know Sabres fans don't like the thought of it, but again, in a year's time from now, are you going to legitimately sit here and tell me that Ristolainen will want to re-sign in Buffalo? I'll believe it when I see it, but as of right now, looking at it from a outside lens, outside of Buffalo, with no emotions, you have to consider the possibility of a trade. So let me know what you guys think down below. If you guys like what we're doing here at Goal Line Hockey, want to see the latest news around the NHL, you guys know what to do. Make sure to give this video a big thumbs up, and even bigger, subscribe down below, guys. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.